Anthropic CEO predicts the first one-person billion-dollar business by 2026. European companies are looking to move from US hyperscalers by finding few alternatives, and OpenAI is building a mega data center capacity in the United Arab Emirates. Welcome to #Trending. I'm your host, Dr. Hema Murti, sitting in for Jim Love, who will be back tomorrow. Dario Amodei predicts that in 2026, a one-person business or solopreneur business could reach $1 billion in revenue. Amodei was speaking at Anthropic's first developer conference called Code with Claude. He pointed out that AI agents can already handle many core business requirements, such as writing, coding, reasoning, and research. Anthropic's own latest models, for example, Claude Opus 4, can perform long-run complex tasks that were previously dependent on a human in the loop. The ideal candidates are based on new product adoption, and those in which customer support can be largely automated. For example, companies that produce proprietary software tools or developer tooling are great targets with a sophisticated audience used to self-service. But other businesses could also be developed. Anthropic's CPO, Mike Krieger, pointed out that he started Instagram with 13 employees 13 years ago. He now claims he could have scaled Instagram with far fewer people using current AI technology. He gave examples such as moderation and engineering problems. But critics point out that this may be too optimistic, saying that the current models lack the true depth or nuanced judgment required in large businesses, especially in complex or highly regulated industries, for example, healthcare or banking. There is also the lack of competitive barriers. If these businesses could be created by an AI-driven model, they could also be copied by an AI model, removing the business advantage of the new product idea. In that instance, both sustainable growth and profit margins would be difficult to maintain. But Amodei is right, and distribution, automation, and customer interaction can be handled by an AI-driven model. We might actually see a business that would make their first billion with only one human at the helm. X, previously Twitter, experienced a significant outage affecting approximately 26,000 users, primarily in the US, following a fire at one of its data centers in Oregon. There were no injuries, but there was heavy smoke contained to a single room. This was not the first major outage for X. A similar outage occurred in March, affecting 41,000 users globally and lasted 30 minutes. This second outage of this year shows the ongoing challenges for X, but is raising questions about the aggressive cost-cutting measures that X has used to reduce staff and whether this means they can effectively protect the operating environment and perhaps the privacy of data. Europe is trying to break free of US data centers. There are signs that a number of companies in Europe are looking to move away from the large US firms that dominate cloud hosting across the world. Even though US hyperscalers have moved to try to accommodate Europe's strict privacy laws, there is still an underlying fear that US firms may try to exert leverage or even control over data stored in Europe. Recent trade tensions and erratic actions from the US government are also troubling European firms who wonder if it is possible that their processing may become a bargaining chip in the trade wars. Google has recently tried to calm the waters with a new sovereign data center offering, which offers protection for European data. AWS has, for years, offered companies the right to hold their own encryption keys, so that AWS could never be required to turn over their data based on a US court or government request. Despite these offerings, there are still concerns about the potential control that the US holds. But a major stumbling block is their lack of homegrown data center capacity and worldwide reach for those companies that operate in multiple countries. Gartner noted that the global cloud market is highly concentrated, with the US-based giants representing approximately 84% of the business. Options for European firms are to repatriate their cloud offerings and bring them in-house, or find European suppliers if that's possible. Even with plans for a rapid expansion, Europe will still face a shortage as demand continues to outpace supply, especially with AI and cloud computing growing at exponential rates. Building those new data centers will not be easy. Finding the right sites, having water for cooling, and of course, the huge power supply required when Europe is trying to deal with other energy shortages are huge obstacles. As well, government bureaucracy is also an issue. But there are also human resource issues. IT professionals are trained in the US data center operations. It would take time to hire and train staff for an alternative system, even if that was developed. Leaked reports coming from the EU government privately admitted that it's impossible for Europe to replace the US hyperscalers. Experts are advising that a realistic strategy may be a hybrid, take advantage of the so-called sovereign offerings like Google is offering, and repatriate or find European suppliers for critical data. OpenAI plans to build a massive data center in the UAE. Following a deal between the US and UAE governments, OpenAI announced plans to build a massive AI computing complex in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, as part of a broader initiative to expand its global infrastructure known as Stargate UAE. The technology partners include Oracle, NVIDIA, Cisco, and SoftBank. The facility will have a capacity of 1 gigawatt, making it the most powerful data center in the world. The first phase, comprising 200 megawatts, is expected to be operational by the end of 2026. To get around the current demand for more onshore U.S. facilities, the deal offers to ensure that an equal processing capacity will be built in the U.S. So, for every gigawatt of capacity built in, gigawatt of capacity would be built in the U.S. The ultimate goal is to create an Abu Dhabi center campus with a capacity of 5 gigawatts, spanning about 10 square miles, making it the largest campus in the world. But OpenAI is also using this as an opportunity to expand their user base. As part of the agreement, an advanced version of ChatGPT will be made freely available to everyone in the UAE, making it the first country to offer ChatGPT on a national scale. UAE's goal is to be the first global AI hub by leveraging its partnerships with US tech firms. And that's our show for today. We love your comments. You can reach us at editorial@technewsday.ca. I'm your host, Dr. Hema Murti, sitting in for Jim Love, who will be back tomorrow. Have a marvelous Monday.